Welcome to the Infinite Star Connection podcast with your hosts, Jeff Demers and myself, Vivienne Chauvet. We're both beautiful galactic ambassadors, but today we are thrilled to welcome a beautiful lady and we're going to explore our own unique contactee experience and new books. Her name is Lily Nova. Lily is a UFO space photographer, contactee, a C5 practitioner, a cosmic channel, author, public speaker. Her story and UFO footage has been featured on the Travel Channel and mainstream media worldwide, including LAD Bible and The Mirror. UFOs began visiting Lily during the COVID time while out shooting space photography. She began documenting these close encounters with her camera, determined to capture evidence and discover who these visitors were. As her experience progressed, communication blossomed and relationship developed with these out of this world beings. They taught her mysteries of the universe, how to initiate contact with them, and activate her dormant starseed DNA. Her psychic gifts and healing abilities. Lily uses those gifts today to channel uplifting messages, DNA activations, and healing to guide others on their awakening journey. Of course, Lily is very dedicated. She has a YouTube channel, a website, her new book called Contact, and we're going to explore that today. Thank you so much for being on the Infinite Star Connections today, Lily.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here. And, I was really drawn to you whenever I met you. Actually, we didn't actually meet last year in Mount Shasta at the Mount Shasta conference, but we'll both be speaking there this July. But I was really drawn to you whenever you did your presentation. And so it's so nice to officially meet you.
Well, on behalf of both my friend and co-host Jeff, we are pretty excited for this unique episode. I mean, of course, we're all about our intergalactic origins and exploring galactic journey. So, exploring your own uniqueness, coming from UFO footage to photographs to actual direct contact. That's for me is phenomenal, and I'm super thrilled to dive into this. Jeff, any comments, anything you'd like to share?
Oh yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more of the contact and how they initiate it. Were you able to receive it? Did they show you images? Do they talk to you? That type of thing. So
Mhm.
we can talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So my experiences, at least, I've had star beings with me my whole life, but I did not know it. I was not aware of it
Hmm.
until a predetermined time in 2020, whenever I began seeing. I started shooting space photography, which is, taking photos of space, the Milky Way, the moon. I've got pictures of the Pleiades, of the Andromeda galaxy, and I just fell madly in love with it. And I started spending every single night out there. And a few months into doing that, and this is in 2020 during the lockdowns, I had my first very, very close UFO encounter. Um, One that I stepped outside on my front porch to get fresh air before bed. It was almost 2 o'clock in the morning, very late. And this diamond craft appeared seemingly out of thin air. And it was very, very close. I could see the details on it. It had a row of red lights and a row of green blue lights, and this strange kind of diamond shape. And it went side to side, up, down rapidly, and then started coming straight to me. And this is very, very close. Like, it was maybe 5 houses down. And then it came right above my head and disappeared. And that was that rocked my world. That was my first encounter where I realized, oh my God, we're not alone. And then I started having these UFOs popping up left and right. I started documenting them with my camera, and very, very close encounters. And I wanted to document proof and evidence. So I've got a lot of footage of them. And then telepathy began, where the first time it happened, I received during a contact experience, I asked them to appear, a golden orb appeared. and there was another witness there with me too. And I closed my eyes to see if I could get any information that way, and I was sent some telepathic visions. So that's primarily how they began communicating with me, was telepathy plus visions, a lot of almost kind of like remote viewing. And I got to see what the beings looked like. And then from there, I was just obsessed, addicted. I wanted to know more and more about these beings. Um, so yeah, I began making contact with them every single day, and yeah, a lot of it telepathy, a lot of it through visions, and they communicated in other ways. But that's kind of how it started. Did you have any questions on that so far?
Yeah, when you seen that craft, did you hear anything? Did it make a noise, a humming noise, or did you feel anything?
So yeah, looking back, I got a feeling to go outside and look up at the stars, and I do believe that that was them, drawing me out there.
Yep, that's common.
And right, right, right. And and no, I so the f- whenever I stepped outside, I immediately locked eyes with this hovering light that was further away. So there were two craft. The first one, that hovering light, and then a strange orange light appeared at the end of my street. And whenever I looked down there to investigate it, it was dead silent, I realized, and I described this in the book in detail, but it was dead silent, and I got this kind of feeling, and then I started hearing the wind rustling. So the craft itself didn't make a noise, but I could hear rustling of the wind, and whenever I looked back, the diamond craft had appeared seemingly out of thin air, and it didn't make any noise, but I did hear the wind rustling whenever it first appeared and started moving.
Did they tell you who they were?
So it took me a little bit. The first time I initiated contact, where instead of them just popping up everywhere, because they literally started popping up everywhere, left and right, I was like, what's going on? Suddenly I'm being bombarded by
Oh
UFOs.
yeah,
And it really tripped me out. But the first time I initiated contact was in April 2021. That's whenever I got to see what the beings looked like, and then I found out that they were from Lyra originally, and these beings had light blue skin and no hair. They looked very human though, and then they had skin tight silver uniforms on that looked kind of like Star Trek. Um, Again, beautiful, human looking, just light
yeah.
blue skin and no hair. They told me that they were originally from Lyra, and then I discovered a little bit later, as I began developing and communication got stronger, that they had migrated to the Andromeda constellation. So they're Andromedan Council, these beings.
That makes a lot of sense because more and more people, whether it's contactee, conscious awakening people on the planet, like workers, star seeds, describe oftentimes, bluish skin, beautiful star beings who may look more humanoid, and oftentimes the energy I receive from it is like they has this either Syrians or Andromedan vibrational signature to them. So not all, just for the record, because this is something, a comment that has a lot. Beautiful people watching right now, not all beings are blue. Some of them have different skin tones or just translucent energy, or some of them will emanate a blue light frequency that is more of an holographic projection or a light body. But in your case, Lily, the way you describe the beings that communicate with you, you actually saw them physically being blue skin, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, and since then I started seeing tons of other types of beings.
Okay.
The Pleiadian. So I've got multiple star families. The Andromedans were my first my first contact and my main mentors in the beginning. But then I started seeing the Pleiadians, other types of Syrians, Lyrans, feline beings, Arcturians. I love working with the Arcturians.
Yes, blue skinned people, that's very easy for them to project the blue because we can only see in three colors. But blue is like the very basic base color. So when there's an energy source, it naturally goes into the a blue color that we can see, and then the pigmentation starts to come. So it's very, very common to see a blue skinned person or being.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, a lot of people that that I share my story, I've had a lot of people reach out. I've seen blue beings too, so I think
Yeah.
it is pretty common. Yeah, and I've seen a variety of them as well.
Yes, and to your point, Jeff and Lily, of course, both of you, is that's because this plane of existence called the physical reality, where soul comes to experience physicality and experiencing density or different variation of density, it's really attributed to what's called the light spectrum, the blue light spectrum. So this is why the light frequency, in terms of any form of blue shades, feel very familiar. It's feel very close to the heart. It's feel very at ease. So these beings all can be either blue or projecting a light energy or a portal of blue frequency that may appear to be. So, for example, nocturnes, I know many people see them as blue, but we're not blue when we're on the
Yeah,
ship.
yeah. But that's what we see them as.
Yes, you see them, and that's a projection that we
Right.
choose to have. So, but I love this beautiful exchange. Lydia, I want to go back a little bit to before all of this happened. Initially, when you're starting to do your space photography, what really guided you to go in that route in the first place?
Yeah, so, essentially, I began going through a dark night of the soul, but, originally, I've always been drawn to space, I've always loved space, galaxy, everything. Um, I was a space cowgirl for Halloween before that, like, I just loved space. So, I was already drawn to it, and then I had this nice DSLR camera that I was beginning to learn how to use. I saw some friends who had gone out to shoot the Milky Way, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that you can photograph this, with a camera." Sometimes you need a bigger lens, almost like putting a telescope at the end of your camera. But, I fell madly in love with it, and so I started doing that, but then I really surrendered myself fully to the stars and went in it 100% whenever I was a nutritionist, and some toxic things started happening at the workplace. I quit within a week, and then the only place where I found comfort was out under the stars. So I started spending every single night under there, and then I was kind of going through this dark night of the soul where everything was being flipped upside down, which was the perfect cocktail for these beings and experiences to start coming in, because a lot of the time, we have a spiritual awakening because of a dark night of the soul.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And what I'm really sensing in my heart listening to you, Lily, and I love it, is how much it's your story really going to touch the heart and soul of many people. And if you look at the human race itself, our human beings are really reawakening to go through. You could talk about the dark night of the soul, and then leading up to propelling them back to get comforted with the universe, going back to their cosmic origins. I love the way you make that association, because that really speaks also in the movement out of a third dimensional polarized field and then moving into a more higher fifth dimensional frequency, and how we're rediscovering our connection to the stars. Thank you so much for that. So what took place after that for you?
Well, so yeah, like I said, I started going out under the stars every single night. It was the only place where I felt kind of like peace. I didn't, I'd always had a hard time fitting in growing up, but really at that point, I was like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Suddenly, everything that I was interested in before, because I was so passionate about nutrition and health, and I wanted to create a mental health and or fuel a mental health and holistic health revolution, but then that was fading, and I was really being called to the stars and surrendering and allowing the universe to guide me on this new journey. And then that's whenever the UFOs started showing up, and it was odd because I wasn't into the UFO community. I mean, I was open to life out there. I knew there was something else out there. There had to be, but I wasn't in the UFO community. I didn't know what a starseed was at the time. Um, I wasn't like super spiritual, but I had always been drawn to like Buddhism and things like that. So, so yeah, whenever these UFOs started showing up, and then intuitively felt this communication beginning to develop. Like I remember one time coming home, it was after I'd had 4 experiences in a row, and one night I went out looking for them. I brought a space photography friend with me, but they wouldn't show up in front of him. So that's a good point to bring up, because sometimes these UFOs and these beings, it's very frequency specific, so they won't appear to just anybody. But they let me know, like, I broke away from him to walk to the car, and whenever I did that, I saw, like, some light, like, fly past me, and then I got this sense, this feeling, kind of this download that, we are here, we're still here. And even he said, even though we're not seeing anything, I definitely feel like we're being watched. And whenever I went home that night, late that night, whenever I pulled up to my house, there was this light in the sky waiting for me, and it just slowly was moving back and forth, and I just started talking to it, and I have this whole thing recorded. So I'd love to post the footage at some point and kind of walk everybody through that. I talk about it in the book, but I just started intuitively talking to this light, and I really felt a strong connection. So there was something within me, the curiosity, and I just felt so drawn to learning more, and I felt a really strong connection with these beings. So as the communication developed, they began teaching me kind of spirituality. I started seeing synchronicities. I started having rapid expansions of consciousness where I felt one with everything. In these really interesting, kind of mind-boggling experiences that made me wonder, am I going crazy? And things like that. And then whenever I officially met the star beings, I think they were kind of testing the waters with me, leading me down this path. And then whenever I was ready to see them, I saw them, and then things just clicked, and communication began daily. And they taught me things like kind of like the law of attraction, manifestation, frequency, the heart, the importance of the heart, and how it's a portal and an interdimensional highway, and the heart is the key to everything, how we're all one, how we're all connected, even these beings. And then they taught me that I realized that they were my star family, and that I was a star seed.
Yeah, and it sounds like the Ponte, geez.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I mean, once you accept them, it's like they're relentless. They're here all the time. I mean, they're here all the time,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's happened to her too, obviously, but you have to accept it. Once you accept and understand it, the show's over,
Yeah, this has been a 24/7 thing
Oh, yeah.
since then, and this is my life now. This is 100% my life now. And in the first year, I had quit my job, and I've never gone without a job before. I've always been a hard worker. I've always had goals and done that. But I was unemployed for probably over a year, pursuing this and learning from them every single day, 24/7. I call it Starseed Boot Camp, where they rapidly were teaching me and teaching me how to activate my psychic abilities, teaching me, what a starseed is, our mission here, teaching me about, secrets of the universe and DNA, activating the DNA. So yeah, it was 24/7, literally relentless.
Yeah. Before I used to take pictures, I used to videotape it. After a while, it just got so boring because it's like, just do what you wise guys want to do here. I don't care. Just don't stand in front of the TV. That's all.
Well, Liddy, just to give you some background, Jeff here is a starseed from an intergalactic civilization that we know as Ponte. I know there's another name for them, but just to give you some background that you may not be aware of. And let's just say that his group, they're more playful. They're very engaged into feeling physicality and touching things and talking to Jeff in the middle of the night and doing all kinds of things. That's where it's coming from when he made that comment.
They
Yeah.
even eat my pickles and they put it back in a jar. Thank you. But
Yeah. That's awesome. They can have a big sense of humor, definitely. They can be very playful, and yeah. And yeah, they're all around us, but too, like even like our limited eyesight spectrum, I've caught photos of them even if I couldn't see them with my eyes. I've caught photos of them where they were right in front of my face. So yeah, that's kind of another point that I like to bring up. Just because for those in the audience, just because you don't see them doesn't mean that they're not there.
Yeah, but you can see them on the sides of your eyes. They look like little wisps that cruise around the house. It's like,
Yeah,
just don't knock anything over,
yeah, yeah.
Well, what I love about this synergy between the three of us, and we're going to dive deeper into your journey, Lily, and talk about your book in a moment. I just want to observe that for those of you who are tuning in, and again, thank you for being always with us. We have the audience from all over the world, and very grateful for really your presence. I want to acknowledge everyone watching live and watching the replay coming up. Anytime, it can be 6 months, a year from now, it is still very valid, and the energy is still very palpable. But what I love about our synergy between the three of us, I mean, is that I represent the other spectrum. I am an intergalactic being who entered this humanized form to experience and remembering. First, I went to Human Course Crash 101, but from an intergalactic perspective. So I love holding space with people who says, well, I got an awakening. I left my job. I take pictures of craft, and now they're communicating with me. And I look at my Arcturine father and I said, Father, this is fascinating, because they have no idea really who I am because I'm in disguise. But to us, as I'm observing you and you observing us. So this is what I feel, we're gapping the bridge. We're really healing the bridge between this planet and a multitude of the multiverse of intergalactic enlightened civilization, like the ones that you've been interacting with. And I knew, Liddy, that they were part of your group. So I just want to add a little layer of beautiful energy and how you're interpreting your relationship to them. For me, it's the other way around. Um, so being on one here, very intense starseed crash course, as you call it, Lily. So where would you say you're on? Where are you now on your journey with all of this?
Oh man, so and the book just goes over the first year, but a lot happened in that year. Like so much happened that year. Again, they were training me on activating psychic abilities, more of our real cosmic in Earth history. Atlantis came up, Lemuria came up, um, Egypt, and then the DNA. They really had me focus and train on the DNA. So now what they've had me do, I've started doing live activations, channeled activations on my YouTube channel, and they said that's number one priority, where I act as a portal to bring through these higher frequencies, and I help others have these profound experiences and spontaneous healings. So I've been doing that a lot on my YouTube channel. And for me personally, recently I've been doing a lot of grid work. I'm meeting a lot with the inner earth beings, and the Sasquatch clans also, anchoring in those frequencies and helping facilitate that for others. But also on a more personal note, I think more remembering is coming through for me, remembering more of because there's many layers to my mission. And from my understanding, what I've been told, there are some things that it's not even safe for me to know about, kind of like undercover type deal. But my mission is very layered. So I'm learning more about that. And then there's also the aspect of like covert space programs and things like that. But also diving into kind of the next level of my activations, my ascension, and then sharing that with others, of course, and helping teach people how to make contact, their cosmic families.
Beautiful. Liddy, we lost your camera here. We no longer see you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's strange. It might be. Let me try and exit. Can you hear me though?
Okay, you're back now. Thank you.
Okay.
We can hear you. We heard everything. It's just the camera
Okay.
went off. And I
Okay.
did notice that we went into a reset. There was a little reset on the feed here, but we're here. Um, the Sasquatch Nation, that's very fascinating. How did they approach you in the first place? Is-
Wow, I love the Sasquatch, and I'm starting to meet other clans across the United States. My first time experiencing them was not the spring that just passed, but the spring before that. Um, for the spring equinox, me and my friend Katie Mabry, which you met her last year at the Mount Shasta conference. I think she did a session. She's very Arcturian, and she's like my best friend. We do a lot of grid work and stuff. We've had Arcturian past lifetimes together. But we went to Arkansas, the crystal mines there. There's thousands of miles of crystal there. It's a very, very powerful place. So we went there, and that's whenever I met my first Sasquatch clan, local to Mena, Arkansas. And I had fantastic experiences with them. They taught me how to connect to like the crystals, the earth grid, and they told me you brought keys with you to help activate the land, and the land has keys to help activate you. So they taught me it was this mutual exchange, and I had very profound experiences with them. I met a whole family, mother, teens, children, elders, males, a whole big group, and they hung out with us literally the whole week that we were there. And since then, I've had experiences with at the Rebels of Disclosure conference. The Grafton, Illinois Sasquatch clan had profound experiences with them, and they actually came more close to our group than ever before. Any of the other years, they're getting very, very comfortable with us, and I think because our the collective's frequency is rising so much, more people are able to have those experiences with them. Um, so yeah, they're beautiful healers. A lot of them are healers, very, very intelligent, very, very kind. And I've done a lot of energy work with them and grid work with them also.
I agree. They're really beautiful being, and they exude. I don't know about you, but they exude such a gentle and yet beautiful light presence about them. So remind us again, when did it start? This interconnection with the Sasquatch?
About a year and a half ago, I think, was my first Sasquatch experience. And what's really cool is once you meet one Sasquatch clan and have an experience with one Sasquatch clan, they will kind of let others know about you if you're going to be in a certain area. So, like, whenever I went to the Grafton, Illinois for the Journey to Truth conference last year, not the one that just passed, the Sasquatch there already knew about me, and they came and initiated contact with me. And just last week, I've been really feeling called to traveling to North Carolina. And while I was in the shower, the I got a telepathic message from the North Carolina Sasquatch, and they said, we're waiting for you. And they showed me the mountains, and they said, there's all of these portals, and there's a lot of work to be done in these mountains, but we're waiting for you. So
I love that because you're right. Once you establish a connection, they will understand who you are, and they will tell. That happened to me in Mount Shasta many, many years ago when we were doing a circle, calling in our intergalactic families, and many ships come that night, and I can see them like watching us,
yep.
and I make contact with them. And once you are in region where they're located, you will, let's say, hey, you're here, and we know that we want to connect with you. So thank you for sharing that, because it helps to release the false energy of fear around it because of the way they look like, or the way they've been portrayed. Overall, even in the UFO community, sometimes ETs are portrayed in ways that feel a bit different from what they really are. Wouldn't you say, Lily?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fear programming around it. And these beings, they won't give you more than what you're ready for. You don't have to be afraid of it. And of course, you always want to, whenever you're initiating contact and opening up, especially in the beginning, you want to um, you want to be specific and say, I'm only connecting with beings of the highest love and light, because there is, variety out there.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Sasquatch that I've come across, very, very benevolent, gentle energy. I absolutely love working with them so much. And I've actually stayed in contact with these different clans. I will see them in the astral. I will see them during meditation. And same with, with the ETs, very much so. They're very loving beings. Of course, there is duality out there, but
Mhm.
we have a free will, and if you ever come across something that you're not sure about, call in, your support, and then also say, I do not consent to you being here. You have to leave.
That's a good point you're making, Lily, because I would say it's really about a frequency alignment, really much what consciousness and frequency alignment you attract. So if you approach UFOs or communicate, making contact from a fear-based energy or uncertainty, well, then you're lowering your frequency. Um, this is why it's always good to use discernment, positive affirmation, and stay centered. Jeff, any comments, questions you like to make?
No, I'm enjoying the conversation so far. I'm just yeah, listening, and
Mhm.
when I get a question, I'll definitely ask.
Okay, I just want checking. This is the beauty with us, Liddy, is we're always in synergy. We always say, okay,
Mhm.
where are we? And we always support our guests. Well, I am personally curious. I'd like to take a deep dive in terms of the teaching aspect of what you've learned from these
Mhm.
groups. So, what can you share about the essence of the teachings that you've received so far?
Yeah. So kind of rewinding back, and some of it may sound kind of basic, but it's really important. And even remember, it's important to remember and even come back to over and over again. So one of the first teachings that my star family, this is the Andromedan light blue ones, they told me, we are all one, and we are all connected. And through our connection and consciousness, we can make contact and communicate with these beings or guides, no matter where they are. So that's important. And you can have an internal experience with them no matter where they are. You don't necessarily have to call in a ship to have an experience.
Right.
But yes, we're all one. So even people who may be family members that you don't get along with, or whatever, just kind of taking it back and remembering that you are all one, and we are all learning these different lessons. And a lot of the time we have these soul contracts where people are supposed to come in to trigger you in certain ways, and bring a certain experience. So that was a pretty profound for me, because I knew that we were all connected, but that just really solidified it for me and helped me look at it in a bigger perspective. One of the next things was my star family, Talia. She said, your heart chakra needs some work. And this is in the very beginning. One of the first things that she said to me. And I was surprised that extraterrestrials were telling me to work on my heart chakra. So I began to realize how interconnected the spiritual and the galactic and the science, it's all connected. It's all intertwined. Uh, so the heart center is a really big focus. Opening your heart, because a lot of us have closed our hearts. We've been hurt throughout our lifetime, and we kind of put our guard up from past lifetimes too. Uh, they showed me a couple of past lifetimes that were really affecting me, and yeah, just really affecting me and holding me back. One of them being the Lyran Wars, the attack on Lyra, and that really was affecting my heart, and it was also caused me to really have a lot of trust issues, because with the beings that attacked us, the negative beings that attacked us, we had kind of like worked out a deal with them in an exchange, and I guess we were naive, and then they attacked us, and they didn't follow through, and it was a genocide. Millions and millions of Lyrans died, and they were, we had to spread throughout the galaxy, so it was a very deep trauma. That was one of them that they showed me. The other one was being burned as a witch in the Middle Ages. When I wasn't a witch, I was a healer, and they burned millions of people alive That was closing my throat chakra. So they said, you're going to have to share your story and share these experiences and go public with this, but you need to clear and open your throat chakra in order to be your authentic self and not be afraid to be yourself. So those were some of the big main ones, and going back to the heart. As you open your heart, you allow in more love and healing and blessings from the universe, as well as a divine connection to your guides, your star family. It raises your frequency. So those were kind of the main big ones, and then we went into like psychic development and DNA activation. But do you guys have any questions or comments on that so far?
Amazing. I mean, just want to observe one thing as you speak and share about these memories, Liddy. Many people in the chat room really relate. And I would say right now, just as much there's a rising within the Atlantean and the Lemurian time cycles, there's also a rising in the Lyran time cycles to really heal many star seeds, souls, or feline beings on the planet who've gone through that. And as a Nocturian, I remember how we came with our armada and our fleet to help. And just to talk about it, I can feel my heart going up to my throat chakra.
Wow.
So, we're we're in that great universal compassion field with each other right now. So I want to acknowledge you in spade because I remember clearly we were, well, I'm going to be using human words here. We were rushing to the aid of the Lyrans when this happened, and I remember clear as a bell. So you being a Lyran, experiencing that, this is why so many have returned, whether it's in human form or feline form or fur-legged, they're all coming back to heal and release themselves from that trauma. So I want to acknowledge you to really, sharing that deep experience. The other one of your experience is being burned at the stake for your healing abilities. And I can tell how they can really affect you in this lifetime to really express with confidence, ease, being who you are, bring your gift, even as a healer. And being a healer, it's a huge umbrella. But that felt a lot of people also connected and felt that. So it's so much in sync with the old grids of fear and wounds and traumatic history are coming off the planet. Have you noticed any changes in that way?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, there's two things I want to touch on. So last night, as I was meditating before bed, I was seeing the feline Lyrans coming through hard, like a flood of them. So that's super funny that you mentioned that. Um, and 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 yes, I've done that is a really important thing that I find almost all star seeds, at least a lot of the ones that are drawn to me, they have this Lyran history that needs to be healed and transmuted and integrated. So I that is an incredibly important part. And I do have a Lyran Wars healing transmission on my YouTube channel, but I think it is time to focus on that again and do some more sessions on that. But Atlantis and Lemuria has been a really, really big one coming up for me a lot, especially the past couple months. And I'm actually doing a live activation on Atlantis and Lemuria after this on my YouTube channel. But that was a really big one too, and I 100% agree with you. I'm feeling these Atlantean and Lemurian energies, and we have these codes and this wisdom from Atlantis and Lemuria within us that's being activated at this time. But we also have to heal that because it was a very traumatic event. And yeah, so I agree 100% with all of that.
It's beautiful because I'm getting also impression and energy impression as you speak. And I'm saying that, you're playing a role in terms of helping to shift out of the middle timeline so we can move into the higher timeline. And I can see, the role that you play in that way. So it's wonderful to observe as you speak, as I'm getting a lot of imagery and I can feel or certain, image or memory will open up for me. So it is wonderful to observe. Jeff, anything you'd like to add or ask, my friend?
Yes, I got a question for both you guys. Now, you guys are talking about clearing your chakras, right? You got a number of them,
Mhm.
and is at any one time has all the chakras been like perfect, ready to go, or is it always in flux?
For me personally, I feel like it's been kind of like onion layers of peeling back, going further and further. Like, yes,
Mhm.
they've been good, they've been golden, but then here comes another layer. Maybe other kind of a past life or ancestral things start coming up. So I think sometimes you may need to kind of like tweak as things are coming to the surface. But I did a lot, and that was a big part of the Starseed boot camp with my star family initially, was working deeply through each of the chakras. And once I got through that, initially spending a lot of time on that, then like I was like good. But then there's sometimes, there's tweaking or another layer
Mhm.
that needs to. And what about you, Vivian?
Oh, that's a really good question. There was a time where these energetic centers or these energetic vortexes were completely in perfect alignment. They may have been known under different names or perceived a little bit different, but has if you move at looking at from the original celestial human template to even a time of Lemuria, then Atlantis, then when the planet descended, this is where some of the chakras or energetic centers got disconnected or retracted or out of alignment. And then to your point, Lily, went to your star groups, and that really also resonated with our teaching, is bring yourself back into that place of the heart, because that place of the heart is reopening not only your heart center, but also your thymus chakra, which is the higher heart. And that's really part of the realignment, a return of bringing more the light frequency, bring ourselves into that sacred alignment. So to your point, Jeff, is they used to be in perfect alignment. Now we're returning to it. So I like the onion analogy, Lily, in terms of unwinding the layers. And I think that we are more and more unwinding more layers to rediscover who we are. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah. And just recently, like I've done so much clearing, healing, and transmuting work. The first year was focused a lot on that. And, I continuously do it. And just it was around winter, I started randomly having these aches and pains in my arm, and even injuries, my elbow, my wrist. Like twice I was trying to open up a jug of water and I sprained my wrist, and it just didn't feel right. And I was like, what is going on? Like I felt like my arm was like I started feeling like an 89-year-old, 90-year-old woman suddenly. And, I tuned in, and I started doing some acupuncture, and then, I was like, what the heck's going on? And it was past lifetimes coming through, and parallel, even parallel from the programs, and even some ancestral was coming through. So at that point, it was like that was another onion layer that was ready to be coming up to the surface that I could clear and transmute it. And I worked a lot with my star family and Archangel Raphael, the healer, magician. And after focusing on that heavily for a couple of weeks or so, then it started to go away.
Now, are humans the only ones that have chakras? Because I know that the Ponti don't.
Hmm. What would I mean, I would think so. Maybe it depends on the race and how, kind of how their physiology and their dimension. But what are your thoughts on that, Vivian?
Yeah, does the Arcturians have that?
You both are amazing. I felt energy there. My actual father says they're going to point you back to you, the question.
He knows. He knows.
I would think so because, my star family would always talk about the heart, and they helped me with the chakras, so at least they have knowledge about it.
Mhm.
I would think that some of them do, but yeah, what are your thoughts, Vivian?
Well. Thank you for asking. You're so kind, and you are our guest, and we want to make sure that we honor you and what you bring, which is unique to you, and we love that.
She's a host too, but she's a good guest today.
Well, it's nice kind of exchanging, information from our unique star families. Like you're very Arcturian.
Oh, yeah.
I've got kind of a mixture, but yeah, so it's really nice to kind of compare notes.
It really is, and just a little fun parentheses when my Octane delegation were utilizing our advanced ET quantum an holographic technology to create this vessel, my physical vessel, the Andromedan made a contribution to it. So I feel very connected, very much so, to Andromedans, and they're always around me. So I want to acknowledge that part of your
Mm,
origin and your connection very much so.
thank
So,
you.
but yes, in this lifetime, I came back as very much of an Arcturian. But
Mhm,
yes, embracing that other little subtleties of Andromedan DNA origin. Well, you think about the human template or the humanoid template, and
mhm,
maybe that's going to connect a lot to you in regards to your Lyran galactic origin, since you are also very connected and you bring that connection at the soul level. We know that the Lyrans have been the sacred guardians of the original library or the temple for the template of humanoid life or humanoid
mhm,
DNA.
mhm,
So, in that sense, they will understand to a T the human anatomy in a sense of the energetic template of the human form. So, of course, they're going to connect us back to our heart, which is a beautiful, common, loving teaching among beautiful, enlightened groups. So, if you talk about a star group that talks about connect to your heart, you know you're in good hands.
mhm.
Just a little perspective here.
Yeah.
So the term chakras is a term that is also very uniquely recognized here on this planet. And to your point also, Lily, what you said about depending on the source of evolution of the civilization we're looking at, there are biological connection will change or the etheric form will change. The way they connect to their point of planetary origin will change. We know, for example, how certain group connect to their planet of origin or the star system they're evolving in. So they will have different ways to
Mhm.
energically have center of connections, but they may not be recognized or placed exactly like here on the planet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and I wanna add something. So, yes, that was what I was already intuitively, like, visualizing and getting. But I wanted to add, so from my Lyran heritage, I have an additional 3rd eye in my throat that I first heard about it, found out about it from a Reiki healer who was doing a session. She's like, "You have a 3rd eye in your throat chakra. I've never seen that before." And then I started getting all of these downloads about it, and that's I found out that it comes from my Lyran heritage, and I can produce these certain tones and frequencies in my voice, and that come through kind of this portal in my throat that the that humans may not even necessarily hear or pick up on, but they heal and activate on a quantum level, and that's unique to my Lyran heritage. So I think it also depends on maybe even humans, depending on their the DNA that they have added to them and their unique cosmic origins. They bring different gifts, and maybe they have different specialties, and maybe like an additional chakra or an emphasis on a specific one. Like my friend Katie, she's very, very I forget what, there's something with her root chakra where she may have like a heart in her root, or there's something special. She's very, very grounded, and works a lot with the earth. So I think there can be kind of unique variations even between the human race.
Can it be, and thank you so much for bringing that up because that brings that another level of understanding of what the chakra system is about. You know that you have multidimensional counterpoint to all of the
Mhm,
chakra system. Each point, you also have what we call the intergalactic interfaces in between. So can it be in your case, bringing your Lyran heritage, reflecting into the gateway of your throat chakra, bringing this intergalactic interface that reflect the energy like a third eye or root
mhm,
system with a
mhm,
heart in it. One thing that one thing that I also we have observed is that each individual or each expression of the beingness that we are, your chakra system communicate very, very uniquely to each other. So I've seen
mhm,
crown chakra in the roots or root connecting, right in our crown. I've seen people having, their heart center connecting directly with the second throat chakra or things like that. That's because the uniqueness on the quantum level, how your chakra system communicate with each point will reflect that unique expression and cosmic heritage of who you are. So I think it's, again, we're expanding into rediscovering more and more of who we really are. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And we're so unique. We bring such unique, each and every one of us, unique experiences and gifts and energy signature and frequency to the table. So, yeah, I think it's really beautiful how unique we all are. And then we're all coming together.
We really are. There's a question I'd like to explore, but before we go that way, would you like to add something or say something in that regards, Jeff?
Well, I would like to find out, before she goes, what her thoughts are about the inner Earth, but we can wait till after that.
Well, we can explore right now. Lily, do you have
Oh, yeah.
any thoughts about that inner Earth?
Yeah, I'm super excited about Inner Earth. I've developed a pretty close relationship with I have one contact specifically from Inner Earth that I work with pretty closely, and she helps facilitate a lot of the activations and meditations I do. Her name's Kay. She has a longer name, but I call her Kay. And so she's an Inner Earth being, and I've had her appear in my room and do energy work on me and work with my chakras and things like that. So I discovered that she's actually a descendant of mine from, so I was an Atlantean. I probably had Lemurian lifetimes too, but I really resonate the Atlantean has come through more. And back then, before the fall of Atlantis, I helped guide people down into Inner Earth to before the cataclysm to help save some of them, and so she's a descendant of that, which is just mind blowing. Thousands and thousands of years ago. So we're like family in that way. Um, and the interactions that I've had with them have just been very, very beautiful. I've been working with them a lot on grid work. So there's, the Mount Shasta is a popular, well-known one with the inner Earth city Telos underneath of it, and that's in like another frequency. And then with Sedona, Thunder Mountain in Sedona, it connects. The two connect there. So whenever I went to Sedona, I was surprised to see a lot of inner Earth Lemurian descendants in Sedona as well. So there was a lot of energy there. And I think, I was just asking them the other day, somebody in my Patreon asked if we were going to be seeing them more, the inner Earth beings. And I asked them and they said, yes, but you have to be a frequency match. So they're revealing themselves more and more, but you have to have a frequency match to perceive them. But they are they're helping us a lot. And a lot of us have inner Earth contacts too, and connections that we can connect with and work with them. So that's kind of the first things that come up. Does that answer the question, or do you want to add anything or ask anything
Yeah,
about
no, I actually seen a blue skin, obviously blue skin, but they're called Dravidians,
that?
and they were from the lower part of the inner Earth, not by Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
These
So
guys were
I've
by Argentina.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of the time, whenever I see them, they're wearing like white gowns or robes or dresses, and they have like long blonde hair. Is a lot of the ones that I'm seeing. But I have seen an ant being from Inner Earth, uh, uh, and I do. Yeah, I think there are a lot of different races. That's just my specific connection is with that group of kind of like the Lemurian Atlantean descendants.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think there's a variety of different races down there.
Oh yeah, yeah. These guys were all like decked out like in the Roman. They had the gold. Everything was gold, and it just looked like warriors. Very strong looking too. I was surprised by that.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Lily, I want to talk about your new book that is
Mhm.
called Contact. And I know it's available on Amazon right now, and we're showing right now the link and the name of the book. What can you tell us about this beautiful new book that you just published?
Yeah, thank you. So this book it's been planned for a while. I was actually visited by another version of me from an Atlantean parallel Earth timeline, who told me that I would be writing this book. Um, a couple of years back. But so this book goes over my experiences from the very beginning, and it goes into it has a lot of my footage, and a lot of the footage actually channels frequencies and activations into it. So there's different pictures in it. It goes through my contact experiences in the beginning, and then developing communication with my star family, the different beings that I was seeing. And then it goes into Starseed Boot Camp, and which is all of the teachings that they put me through and all of the messages that they gave me. So it goes in depth into that. So it's a really great like story, but it's also kind of a manual to help you others on their ascension journey and helping others to develop connection with their inner being, with their star family, and discover their unique star origins. So there's a chapter on how to make contact, and there's a chapter on different ET races and starseed types also. So yeah, and yeah, it's a really great book. I'm really proud of it. And a lot of people have sent me a lot of messages saying how activating it was and how they've been having experiences and contact experiences since reading the book. So all books are channeled. You know, whenever you're letting that flow through you, you're pulling in information. And I had a lot of beautiful experiences while writing it too. So
Amazing. Well, congratulations on this book, first thing first. It's a big endeavor, and all the links that will be also in this today episode description. It's been also shared in the chat room on the screen. So there's many ways to come to get the book, and being exploring. I feel like it's helping so many, beautiful starseed or reawakening to their higher cosmic truth, who they are, the uniqueness, their power, their light, and we are really it's beautiful to watch this beautiful planet, really restoring and coming back more and more into a place of sovereignty, and start to also remembering the connection with your star families, and like you mentioned, that we are all interconnected as all oneness ultimately, right?
right. Yeah, and I wanted to add two other things I forgot that I really go into in the book is activating psychic abilities and also our DNA. So, and I know, Vivian, you talk a lot about, I think you talk a lot about DNA, or you do a lot of like channel activation similar to me. And DNA activation is so incredibly important right now, and that's really how uh, how we can all of the information, everything that we need is like it's already within us and it's encoded within our DNA. So learning how to work with your DNA and activating more of your multidimensionality, you can also activate these amazing gifts and have these profound revelations by working with your DNA. So I just wanted to add that. It's a
Oh,
big part of what
absolutely.
we're yeah.
No, and thank you for having this, Liddy. And the thing is that even though you and I seem to do the same thing, or somebody else do the same thing, what is unique is the way you bring it about is unique to you, the way your contact information, the way your story brought about, the way you went to the dark night of the soul on the human level, and then release a 3D regular job, then going into feel the confinement, feel the comfort among the stars, leading up to space photography, and then leading up to a more conscious contact directly, and then even more remembering of your journey and your star lineages. Well, that pathway is encoded uniquely to you. So the way you do DNA or the way you do meditation or writing a book will be unique to you. And that's why it's really wonderful to see many of us being of service on the planet, because even though we may be tackling similar topics, the uniqueness of the pathway that we bring about will be very unique and create different type of experiences. And that's why I'm always so appreciative of people doing the work and bringing, really powerful messages and to help uplift this planet, basically, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's nice to, like for somebody on their remembering awakening journey, maybe you have one piece to the puzzle, or you help them activate or remember one thing, and then I help them activate and remember another thing, and it's amazing. Yeah, you're totally right about that. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no, absolutely. And again, it's I'm observing the energy building up in a chat room, and people are absolutely in agreement. There's so many
Mhm.
beautiful people who have many experiences, powerful teachers here, and it's recognizing each other. So this is where that we all instrumental aspect of the whole, and when we come together, it's phenomenal what we can accomplish. So again, I'm very grateful for what you bring, Lily, and sharing about it. Was it easy for you at the beginning to share about saying, "Hey, I take these pictures, I see those craft." How was it for you at the very beginning to really come about and being able to express yourself about this?
Well, it was difficult in talking with family and friends, because nobody believed me at first, besides my mother, because she had a UFO experience, and then later I discovered that she has, she's part of this too. But it was difficult at first, but I made new social. Well, once I got the kind of the green light, and I knew that people needed to know this, because I saw it in the COVID bill. There was a hidden piece about UFOs, and that's when I realized, okay, this is actually about to happen. Like, it's in the media. It was kind of hidden still, but I was like, this is the most important thing. So I have to put aside my ego or my fears, and I started sharing the footage. And I did get a lot of like backlash. A lot of people called me crazy or thought I was on drugs or whatever. But then there was a lot of people who were like, "Wait, I saw something strange too." And I was able to connect with so many others who were having similar experiences, that it made it more it gave me the kind of the courage and confidence to go on. So that's why we're so important. Everybody is so important. Everybody's playing a role. And even just, having a conversation with somebody, or commenting in a chat, or being a part of, the possibilities are just endless. But yeah, we're so important, and we need to really stick together.
Love it. Words of wisdom, Lily. I liked when you talk about stepping forward, courage, and know what you know.
Yeah.
I love the way you owned your experience. I know what I saw, I know what I am receiving. So
Mhm.
because sometimes people said, "Well, am I going? Did I imagine that, or it was
Mhm.
just a ball in the sky? Maybe it was a satellite. Maybe it was just a flash of something else." So
Mhm.
I think it's going to maybe be very helpful to guide others who may have similar experience. How did you make the difference in knowing that you were looking at an actual extraterrestrial
Mhm.
craft or an object
Mhm.
versus a space station or a star or a point? I'm playing
Yeah.
the middle bridge right now because I know you're teaching a lot to people. So would you share about that?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I had spent probably about 2 or 3 months outside looking up every single night. So I got a feel for what was normal to see out there, and then whenever I started seeing these other things, these craft, they moved, they changed direction, they changed speed, they changed height. Not something that our known craft can do. Um, but also, as I progressed, you can get something called a star map app on your phone, and that will help you to, is that bright light, is that just Jupiter, or what is that? But also, what I learned is that the star beings, they started communicating with me through the stars, and they've done this for others too, where
Oh,
the star Sirius started communicating, where suddenly I just got this feeling, and this is in the very beginning, got this feeling there was some sort of connection. I'm like, I know they're up there. And the star started blinking on and off, almost like a Morse code, and there was nothing going in front of it. And I'd captured some other things, because I would film this, like a weird blue light kind of came through, it happened twice. Um, so some people, even if it is a star, like the star Arcturus, happened. with me once too, where you get kind of this feeling, this deep feeling, like a communication or some sort of special connection is happening, and they can communicate with you through the stars. So that's a known thing. Also, but yeah, a star map can help. And satellites, they go, there's a lot of satellites in the sky right now. So you can telepathically ask them, if it's a ship, can you either kind of glow up, can you change direction? You can get an app on your phone that tracks the satellites to help rule those out. So I would recommend that. But also, once you start looking up and setting the intention to connect, you'll begin to develop a feeling whenever you know that it's them. So that's what happened to me. I began developing a feeling whenever they were around, in receiving kind of a communication downloads whenever they were around. And sometimes they would flash at me, or sometimes I would see, a quick light go past that almost looked like a shooting star, but not quite. So there's many different ways. But yeah, a star map app, a satellite app, if you want to help rule the satellites out.
Are you a healer by chance?
Yes. Yes. That's one of the things that that my star family began teaching me how to activate within myself and body and do.
Okay.
I think many of us are healers, and we're stepping into that now.
It's a good point, and I just want to acknowledge what you said a moment ago before we go into the healing part. In
Mhm.
terms of, using different tools to ruling out, it helps to calm the logic mind in terms, oh, it was just a star, or it's just something else. And once you get out of the way, then you can really open your own intuitive channel. And remember, it is really higher consciousness communicating with higher consciousness. So I like the blend of bringing some 3D practical tools and then leading up to opening more on a conscious level.
Right.
Yeah, so I just want to acknowledge what you just said, Lily. There was, a
Yeah.
beautiful compromise in between. And again, I'm monitoring the chat room, and many people also utilizing different app like Stellarium or other
Mhm.
ones, um, to be able to do that. So
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the word healing is really a shifted in meaning. So have you noticed, Liddy, any changes in the approach of being a healer?
Mhm. So for me, it has been very intuitive and guided from my star family. And I remember asking somebody who I'd known had gotten like a Reiki certification, and asking them, do you think I should, take a Reiki certification? And they said, I know Spirit was speaking through them. You don't necessarily have to. It can be very intuitive. It's very intuitive. It's very much about intention, which if you're drawn to doing those classes, like 100%, yes, do it. There's a reason why you're drawn to it. But I feel like we have so much power within us already. A lot of it is a frequency and our intention. And I do feel like we are learning to step into our power and our natural innate gifts of healing and healing others, um, in different ways. A lot of it can be frequency. A lot of it can be with color too, color therapy. Um, and yeah, but I'm noticing, especially through connecting with our higher aspects, and getting assistance with our star families, healing can be instantaneous, and it's profound what people are experiencing right now. Like just the other day, so I did a star origins reading on somebody who had neck pain for over 20 years. And whenever I meditate before the session, and what I saw was a device that had been put there. And so I shared that. And at the end of the session, I did a 10-minute kind of channeled activation where I worked with the Arcturians to remove the device. And I did this session like couple months ago. She just told me the other day that after that session, her pain that she had been feeling for 20 years is completely gone and has not returned after removing that device. Which got me emotional. Like, it's
Yeah, it,
crazy.
it really is. And thank you for this beautiful example, because It is remarkable the changes. Again, it's rediscovering how everything is interconnected, even our, galactic past memories, who we are, how it affects not just about the human level or, your upbringing as a child. And it can be genetic, ancestral, historical, and it
Mhm.
has so many more impact. And I can feel the changes. So I'm curious about something too, Lily, based on your understanding and your connection to your star groups. Any messages around the evolution of Gaia, where things are shifting for
Mhm.
all Gaia and for all of us?
Mhm. Yeah. So I believe that's why they've really been having me focus and working with me on doing grid work. I feel like we're in a big kind of like preparation. We're really laying the foundation for 2025. I get really good feelings about 2025, where we're just going to go pew, like we're about to blast off right now. And so we're doing a lot of clearing and transmuting and closing down, negative portals and kind of like they show me kind of like reconnecting grid lines and working with the grid that's helping anchor in and bring through this 5D reality. And we're about to take off is what I'm feeling. A lot of disclosures going to happen in 2025. The 5D grid and it's just really supporting it right now. So we're doing a lot of the preparation work and it's about to take off is what I'm getting.
Oh, right on. Absolutely right on. There's a new cosmic gateway opening in 2025. We're doing the prep right now. There's on so many levels. Grid system, upgrades, community, consciousness, everything. So I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, yes.
they showed me a vision just the other day where the sun, I saw the sun, this was as I was waking up, I think. I saw the sun as a giant chakra. It was really like a giant chakra. And this light was coming through and being brought down in through me. And I'm sure all of you too, but in through me and into the earth and through the portals of my sacral chakra specifically. One of the times that they showed me this, but I've been, yeah, working with the solar energies and the light, bringing this in a lot the past week and the night before last. I was having vaguely remember doing it all night, like bringing it down light and anchoring it in. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. But I saw the sun as like a huge chakra, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it's I love the way you bring the sun because there's a lot of beautiful conscious activation around the solar energies, and it's playing an instrumental part even into the awakening, some aspect that is going to be essential right in even in the DNA structure and life overall on the planet. So, we as an Nocturne, we love the sun. We utilize the solar energy all the time. This is why I live in the desert of Arizona, to be in the
Yeah,
sun.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
so thank you for mentioning that. I saw you smiling, my friend Jeff. Anything you'd like to add, ask, explore?
Yeah, since they helped you with that first book, they have plans for a second.
Yeah, there's most definitely going to be a second, maybe even third. I do want to do like a contact, like kind of like maybe like a workbook type thing that's kind of like a smaller to help people, develop. And although
That's
there's
a
a
good
lot of
idea.
that, yeah. So like some sort of like kind of like a
An
smaller workbook.
interactive type thing,
What's that?
like an interactive type thing.
Yes, yes, I wanna do that, and I'm doing a 6-week mentorship program in August, so I think I'll make the workbook around that time to kinda
Mhm.
go along with that, but then I also wanna do a part 2 that follows my experiences after this one and messages that may dive into, like, the hybrid program, more of, like, covert programs, the Sasquatch clans, different things like that.
Perfect. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's really much in alignment with where we're shifting. Would you say, based on your experience, Liddy, that we are really getting ready on the consciousness on the planet? We're getting ready. Um, and I feel like this year also there's a big awakening or an opening or ancient portal around the Pleiadians. So, any message or connections or transmission you may have received from the Pleiadians themselves?
Mm. I've been seeing them a little bit. I think I just saw them a little bit last night, but I haven't really received any messages lately, but I could definitely see that. More recently, the past few weeks, I've been working really with the inner earth beings and the Sasquatch clans, as well as the Lumerian and Atlantean. But yes, I could definitely actually, okay, yeah, just recently, they showed me we did an activation in my Patreon where we were doing grid work, but then they showed me the energy of the earth changing, and I saw these new grids being created around the earth that were totally new. And then they showed me the stargates of like the Pleiades, Sirius, and all of these other stargates, like I guess activating and then connecting with ours. And it was like this whole elaborate connected thing. So I think that aligns with what you were just talking about.
Beautiful. Yes, the Stargate. The various interdimensional Stargates are really coming into sacred alignments, and we
Mhm.
work with them as well a lot. So, good points about that, Lily. So, really awesome.
Yeah. I almost forgot about that,
We bring a lot the inner earth and the Sasquatch Nation.
yeah.
And from an inner earth perspective, is there any messages about the changes or people evolving or any maybe word of wisdom to help people navigate through the changes with more ease? And maybe also toning down, some kind of emotional, physical symptoms that people can experience.
Yeah. So, well, spending time in nature, of course, getting the rest, because we're doing a lot in the astral too. So if you feel fatigued, um, I've been doing some cleanses and detoxes lately to help with that also. And I recently just started doing red light therapy. Was guided to do that, get like a red light therapy. But besides that, the last messages that came through from a new contact that introduced themselves recently and from Telos named Aaliyah. She's a records keeper. Like I saw her in a library, and she was guiding uh, me to share with my audience about activating and connecting with your Lumerian wisdom, your soul gifts from Lemuria, from Atlantis, and and kind of integrating that and bringing that up within you, like you're carrying these codes. So that's what has been coming up recently for me and my audience, is connecting with that aspect and bringing through that wisdom, those soul gifts, and those frequencies. So we are, there's all of these different versions of us that in my journey, I've merged with a lot of these other aspects of me, like galactic, and whenever that happens, you can activate new gifts and just new levels of awareness. And so that's been my experience, and that's what Aaliyah was sharing, was really tapping into that inner wisdom and kind of like integrating those aspects of yourself, bringing that frequency uh, and anchoring that.
Have you
That's
interacted with Mikos from the Inner Earth?
I just got a name like that the other day.
Yeah, he's in charge of the main library.
Interesting. I literally just got that name. It was a male during a reading session a couple days ago.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
tall. He's about 7 foot tall.
Does he have different colored skin or?
No, he's like a white skin. He's got long ass hair, and
Okay.
he wears like a robe of
Yeah.
sorts. But
Yeah.
but he's a caretaker of the library.
In Telos specifically?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, then I'm sure that
you'll
Aaliyah.
meet him. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm sure you're on his list.
Yeah. 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 I'll have to connect with him.
He'll
Yeah.
find you.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. And that's what else is cool. I feel like as we're doing this work, like I'm just meeting new people, like new beings, but beings that I've been connected with, and we're already and a lot of our star families are working together, but they start kind of coming to the forefront at different times to maybe introduce themselves and work with you on something specific, which is super exciting. Just like the Sasquatch now coming up, and the inner earth beings coming up more recently to do with the grid work and everything.
Very true, very true. Well, there's a question in the audience. I think it would be a great question for you, Lily. So allow me to read the question to you. It's from Adrian. Adrian is asking, what role plays the divine timing in becoming aware of all of that versus working at it through various techniques in an active manner?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I feel if you are called to working at it, then that most likely can be divine timing, like interplaying. But I have, experienced things where I've been working at it, maybe working at something too hard, or kind of getting off a little bit, and maybe it's not working. But then through that, there was a lesson that I needed to learn anyway. Uh, so I think really, like, it sounds like it's all mostly divine timing, really trusting your intuition and really learning uh, to ground and connect with your higher self to receive guidance, is really, really powerful, and something I think that's really, really important, and that makes it become more clear as to which direction. But I just had a vision. I woke up just a couple weeks ago of this, where, because sometimes it may kind of seem difficult if we've got a lot going on, like, are my guides giving me advice, or which way should I go, or what should I be doing, this or that. As I was waking up, I had like this dream or vision where one of my guides was dropping hints. I didn't know that they were communicating with me, but they were dropping these hints, kind of like, that made me go. It can be as small as, oh, I'm going to go to the gas station right now, or I feel like doing this, or maybe I want to do that class or whatever. But really, my guides were leading me through that, and that's why you get these ideas and downloads anyway. So that was just kind of a good reminder, I think, that we're always being guided divinely.
Hmm.
Very true. We are always being guided. I love the way you brought the synergy between if you're being guided to work on something, it's a divine synchronicity being played out at the same time. So there's no separation between the two. It's
Mhm.
always divine synchronicity or divine timing unfolding in expressing itself in multiple ways. So I really like that aspect. So thank you, Lily.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're coming close to the end of this episode, so I would like to give you, we would like to give you the opportunity, maybe your final words, or maybe a message or something you really would like to share with our audience before we wrap up our amazing time together today. And again, just as a reminder, everyone, that Lily's book, Contact, is available already on Amazon, and here's the link. And all the link is also posted in this episode description, making sure you look at it. And so, just maybe some final word, or maybe something, a final question, Jeff, you would like to add. Please go ahead.
Nope, I'm very satisfied with this. If you answered all my questions I needed to know,
Awesome.
so yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful. I
Right.
would like to reaffirm how important all of our roles in this are. Star Family showed me it, like our spirit, actually, like Source showed me this, where we're all like the threads in a tapestry. Like, each one of us is we're not, none of us are more important than the other. Uh,
Mm-mm.
we each play an equal part in this, and we each are bringing our unique energy and frequency and anchoring our light. So every single one of everybody who is listening right now or in the replay has an important part, and you are doing it even if you are doing nothing, even if you're sitting on the couch. You are, you're doing it. You're your light, you're bringing your light and your frequency. You don't necessarily have to be trying to do something to already be positively impacting the shift of consciousness and raising the frequency of the planet. So I just wanted to add that, and add that also discernment is incredibly important right now, to remember to discern and staying centered in your heart space. And also, each one of you have amazing galactic family and galactic guides that are ready to assist you and that you can connect with at any time. So, and bringing it back down to the heart too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's very, very essential. Beautiful summary of great wisdom. And just to make also a connection to a few of the comments I'm reading, like from Rose, many people feel that it can be challenging to stay in that connection when you're interacting with other people who may be completely opposite of your belief system, or, energetically or
Mhm.
consciously, or where they are, and to feel like, how can you stay in your integrity being around other people who may feel that they're opposite
Mhm.
of you? Any
Mhm.
thought on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you really have to find your tribe and community, like online. If you can't find anybody in person, that's going to be incredibly helpful, incredibly validating. Making connections, joining maybe like Telegram groups. Like we have a Telegram group chat, or whatever you want to do, but finding like-minded individuals will help a lot. Out there in the world, I guess in the matrix world, coming across people like that, I mean, they're not going to change until they're ready. They are not going there. If they're not ready to hear, then they're not ready. So there's no point in kind of like arguing or trying to prove something to somebody. If they're not ready, they're not ready. And I witnessed a lot of that with my family and friends who did not believe me, or who kind of made fun of me for what I was experiencing in the beginning. It was very difficult, but as I became more confident in my experiences, and also I was documenting proof with the camera, then I began standing in my power, and I didn't care what anybody else thought or said. And then as I shifted my energy, I noticed that everybody else shifted their energy, and they started to treat me differently. It took a little bit of time at some points, but now nobody questions me, and they don't treat me like that. I mean, so I would really stand in your power about it, and kind of be an example, and own your truth, and you will attract like-minded individuals. And you'll probably repel other ones who aren't meant to be in your life, but that's okay. Bye.
That's
I
right.
love your
Staying
energy.
in your energy. That's more important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Mm.
that very much so. Yes, absolutely. And in addition to attracting a tribe, you have your tribe. I have my online
Mhm.
tribe. Together, feel that you are part of this great universal
Mhm.
tribe. And within yourself, it's important to be at peace with who you are, because when you are at peace with who you are, exhuming that energy everywhere you go, even in face of opposition, it become easy, just like you did. Some people, family members, friends, may make fun of you at the beginning, but you said, you know what, I know with my experience, and you stand your ground. And then today, it helps them, family members, friends, neighbors, people coming your way, to see another perspective to this. And today, you're opening yourself to sharing those incredible experiences, wisdom, teaching, and without having to carry any shame or doubt,
Mhm.
or the energy of somebody else. So that was great, beautiful message, Lydia. I really appreciate so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and those were some lessons. Yeah, some big tests for me, and some lessons I had to learn, and I had to really reflect, um, and learn to stand in my power with that, and speak my truth. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And recognizing that your own experience are just as valid, even though if others are not completely ready to embrace you just yet.
Mhm.
Believe me, I understand the feeling a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
for
yes,
sure, for
for
sure.
sure. Just stay tuned, everyone. So, our next episode will be on Sunday, June 30th, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have Lisa Thompson, another really beautiful soul, wrote books around her galactic experience and her ways to interacting with our beautiful universe. So, join us on Sunday, June 30th. But for today, we have the lovely Lily Nova and all of your energy, your presence, your light. Extremely grateful for you today. It's been an incredible interaction, cosmic conversation, a journey through space and time, very earthly, very elevated, all of the above. Lily, we really hope you enjoy your time with us today.
Yes, it was so wonderful speaking with both of you. Thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in Mount Shasta.
Looking forward to seeing you as well, Lillian. We're going to be in Shasta at the Rock Potter Summer Conference, July 18 to the 21st. All the details are available on both our website. And again, Lily's all description links are in the episode description. And for those of you asking questions at the very end of the episode, sorry, we can't answer any question at this point. We're wrapping up. But stand your light, everyone. Jeff, my friend, you are as delightful as always. I so appreciate you. Lily, thank you again, and we will see you soon. Much
See
love,
you.
everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.
Namaste.